Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey friends, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Today we're looking at Psalm 55 verses 8 and 9. We've come to the section after the Selah. So remember, the Selah is to make us, ponder, think about, consider what's been said. All of this is very instructive for us because, we need to make the first place that we go God's throne, His throne of grace. When we're in any kind of trouble, we need to make this prayer our own prayer. Give ear, hide not, attend and hear. Whether we're mourning a complaint or making a noise or rejoicing in a goodness that has been received or thanking Him for a grace that has been realized, whatever it might be, this is our prayer too. We must also understand that we have an enemy. Verse 3, verse 4, 5 tell us about the enemy. 4 and 5 tell us about the suffering that the enemy creates for us, the terror, the horror that overwhelms us. So all of these things are things to think about. We're not going to fly away and get away from the trouble, but we're going to fly to God's feet, to His footstool, and seek His face. That's what we're going to do. That's exactly what David does. This is what he's teaching us. You see, this is a Maskil psalm, so we're being taught, and we need to learn. What are we learning? We're learning about prayer. We're learning about our experience and suffering in this life. We're learning about dependence upon the Lord. So let's learn the lesson. Now, in verses 8 and 9, he continues the theme that he began in 6. Oh, that I had wings like a dove. Listen to 8 and 9. He says, I would hasten my escape from the windy storm and tempest. Destroy, O Lord, and divide their tongues, for I have seen violence and strife in the city. Now, verses 8 and 9 remind us, of course, they connect with what was said in 6 and 7. His escape is he's got wings like a dove and he's flying away. He's going somewhere. He's wandering off. He's going into the wilderness. He wants to get away from all this upset. So I would hasten my escape from, and then he uses this language, windy storm and tempest, which is just like something that Job said. If I open my Bible here, I find Job here, Job chapter 9. Job was talking about the Lord and how the Lord had unfairly, Job's complaining. He had unfairly caused Job to suffer. Job said, if I had called and he had answered me, yet I would not believe that he had hearkened unto my voice. For he breaks me with a tempest and multiplies my wounds without cause. You hear Job complaining about what he thinks the Lord has done to him. Well, here David uses a similar language, the windy storm and tempest, just like Job. Job says he breaks me with the tempest. And so, this idea of the tempest crashing in, the storm crashing in on the soul of the believer. Of course, we all want to make our escape, but we're not going to escape from it. And so what we need to do, just like I mentioned yesterday in Psalm 11, the Lord is my trust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run to Him. And that's what this prayer teaches us, running to the Lord in the midst of the storm that crashes against us. If only Job had learned this lesson. Well, eventually he does. But he hasn't learned it in chapter 9 of his book, not yet. And then we have in verse 9, request number 2. Because in verse 9 he says, destroy, O Lord, and divide their tongues. This is the first time we've had a request in this prayer since verses 1 and 2. Verses 1 and 2 we had, give ear, hide not, attend, and hear me. So here we have his second request, destroy and divide their tongues. Because if request number 1 is answered, request number 2 will be answered as well. And so destroy and divide their tongues. If the enemy is divided against itself, it won't be able to stand. We learned that lesson in the New Testament. The Lord Jesus actually teaches us that lesson. If a house is divided against itself, it can't stand. And so David prays a prayer, Lord, divide their tongues. May they be confused and not able to put things together. Which When we think about what happened to the Lord Jesus in the council chamber, a similar thing happened. Their tongues were divided. None of them agree on what Jesus had done wrong, until somebody came up and said, well, he did say something about the temple being destroyed and rebuilt in 3 days. All right, well, join me again tomorrow. We're going to look at verses 10 and 11 as we conclude the first half of Psalm 55 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.